said. Because I really don't want to take up any more time of the armed guards that have come out to protect us. It reminds me of a hearing several years ago when we went to a hearing on Bruce Babbitt's rangeland reform, and the ranchers all showed up for the hearing, and the United States Marshals were there in bulletproof vests. And they were also, and the FBI was there. What I was afraid of is that they might catch us in a crossfire between the two. What you're experiencing here goes to the top in the nation. And my suggestion to you is that when you write a letter, in accordance with the letter that you've got, I hope you've all got that letter, that you also send it to Tom Tidwell, the new supervisor of the Forest Service, because these people in Shasta County are not doing this on their own. The word came from the District of Columbia. The forests are to be closed down. And it didn't start in January of this year. It started 5 years ago. And the reason they're to be closed down is to save money on management and maintenance and to shut people out so that something can happen that 10 years ago I didn't believe was possible. In fact, I thought that the people who predicted that the Wildlands Project would eliminate people from corridors in this country were seeking communists behind every sagebrush. I thought it was a conspiratorial theory that was a myth. It's not. If you look at the ecosystem plans that the Forest Service has, and the BLM, they follow those corridors to the point where humans are to be eliminated from 11 specific corridors across the United States, and there's one corridor that covers every line of national forests in the country. So it's not just here. You should send your letters to the supervisor of the Forest Service. You should send them to the members of the Appropriations Committee in the House and Senate. You can get all these things off their website and let them know that we understand that this isn't just an isolated event. This is a matter of the Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management taking over the public land and cutting the people out. A forest supervisor in Montana at a meeting that I attended with an irrigation district there made the mistake of referring to my forest. And I asked her for the deed. I asked her to show me the deed that gave her the forest, the Kootenai Forest of Montana and Idaho. But that's the attitude that I face across this country. We have 100 counties and towns now and irrigation districts that are using the coordination process under the statute that requires the Forest Service and the BLM to come to the table of your elected officials and to answer why they're closing down these trails and roads. They're doing it without following the law, and they're doing it without following their own regulations. Recently, a district judge in the Northern District of California answered the Forest Service argument in the case that he had before him, and the Forest Service said, local government can't command us as to what we do. And he agreed with that. And he said, but you have to follow the law in what you do. They aren't following the law. They're violating the law. And they're violating the law because they can get away with it. All of you folks could write a public comment to the Forest Service today and deliver it to the guards over there. And believe me, they don't have to respond to you. They don't have to pay any attention to you. But if you get your county supervisors and you get your local government people to say to the Forest Service, you have to come and coordinate with us, they have to, because Congress ordered them to, in every single statute that relates to the natural resources. The forest statute, the National Forest Management Act, requires them to coordinate with your local board of county supervisors. Their own rules, issued by the Secretary of Agriculture in 1982, require them to coordinate with local government. When I brought that to the attention of a supervisor in Wyoming, she said, well, where did you find those rules? So I said, in your manual. They're the rules that you folks are supposed to live by because your own agency issued them. They don't read them. I had a BLM director say to me, statutes are for lawyers. And I said, well, what about your rules? Who are the rules for? And he said, well, we don't look at the rules. We just look at our manual. Now, that's what we're fighting. And And in 100 jurisdictions today, we're fighting it successfully. 3 years ago, there were only 2. 2 years ago, there were 27, and now there are 100, and hopefully by next year, the American Stewards of Liberty who pay me will have 200 or 300 local governments that say to the Forest Service and the BLM, it's time that you give us back the public lands because we own them, you don't. The impact that you can have is not, you keep on doing your public comments, but the impact that you can have is to let the elected officials know that you know that the law is being violated. Because for too long, the people inside the Beltway in the District of Columbia have believed that they know better what's good for us than we know. You go back there and visit in the top offices of the Forest Service, the BLM, Fish and Wildlife. They laugh at groups like this. I was in a senator's office, fortunately not one of Idaho's senators, because we have 2 senators that believe in local government, and they believe in the forest being open. But I was in a senator's office of the majority party, and he came in and said to his staff, who are the sign carriers out there today? And laughed about it, because people were carrying signs like you've got outside the Senate office building. But we have to make it clear to them that it's not a laughing matter.